All right, welcome to Crypto News and Investigative Reports. I'm glad that you're able to join us. Just want to give a shout out to everybody that is on doing this on YouTube, that is doing this on Facebook and Twitter, on those social media networks, trying to keep the public informed regarding this revolutionary technology, the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. It's a great thing, and I want to give a shout out to all of those people that are doing it. I know a lot are not getting paid for it. We're just trying to make sure that uh, the public is aware of what's happening. If you don't have any cryptocurrency, you want to go out and get you some Bitcoin or some Ethereum, some XRP. I would suggest to go out and get some XRP. XRP has the best use cases in the cryptocurrency business. There is no other cryptocurrency like Ripple XRP. They have the best use cases. Shout out to David Schwartz. Shout out to Brad Garlinghouse, to Chris Larson, the three wise men, I call them, that are really putting just an excellent company together in San Francisco, California. So let's get into it. Let's get ready, and let's go. Here we go. Uh, let's start here. No, let's don't start with that. We'll go back to that last. This is the Block Tribune. It says, I don't want to start with him either. Right here, let's start with the IMF. If anybody that's been following any of my videos, you know that I've been reporting on the IMF, the World Bank, the central banks, and the Federal Reserve. I started reporting on them about 3 or 4 months ago. You can check my previous videos. It's really important that the story stays at the top because if there's going to be any mass adoption, and you hear that a lot about mass adoption. If there's going to be any mass adoption, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, central banks, and the Federal Reserve all has to come together on the same page. If you're watching any of my videos, I say that in every one of my videos because it's the truth, and I want to get you the truth. You can't have mass adoption without those three entities coming together. Christine Lagarde, or Lagrade, whichever way you pronounce her last name, she's on board. She says that Ripple works for the IMF. Uh, Ripple XRP has relationships they have established relationships with all three entities, and with all three of those entities, there is a possibility that Ripple can be selected as the go-to cryptocurrency. Um, the relationships, but I want to bring up a point about this article. I'll read a little bit of this article. It says the IMF just may be helping in the adoption of Ripple and Bitcoin. It says I'm lagging. My computer's lagging a lot. It says Ripple XRP being acknowledged as a security or not is going to be one of the biggest announcements in the crypto world. And as far as I'm here, I'm trying to find out about that big announcement. I'm exhausted with that, whether it's a security or not. But I really want to get that announcement and get that over with. I'm pretty sure Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, and David Schwartz would like to get to an end of whether it's a security or not. At this very moment, we can only anticipate the big news to be publicized in the next few weeks. Even though the legal basis for this world financial system is at work tirelessly to be able to make things better, Ripple, in contrast, is affiliating with Team and other financial managers out there. So, Ripple is establishing relationships in order to be able to make this adoption, make the adoption happen. The major difficulty at the moment is not announcing Ripple as a security, but if Ripple's technology can be officially used for securities, commodities, stocks, and bonds, and whether Ripple technology can transform the world's transaction. There are some 294 trillion financial assets in the world already, and a fragment of it is the global market capitalization, which has risen from 34 trillion to 69 trillion, and this involves the amount of money which goes on a day-to-day basis. And of course, these transactions can now be processed with Ripple's technology. And so the IMF is already on board. This woman right here, which I've reported before, if you've watched any of my videos, I've been telling you that she's on board. Christina's on board with Ripple XRP. They've established relationships with them. Some of the other, on my other videos, you can see that I talk about them establishing relationships with the IMF, establishing relationships with the Federal Reserve, and establishing relationships with the World Bank and the central banks. This is the heavy voice. We already know Chris Larson is a part of it. All of this whole pieces of puzzle is coming together. And this has been going on for like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. This is not a new story. It's been going on for as far as I can look back at, maybe 2 or 3 years. And Ripple, with their technology, they knew that they had the ability to hit these nostril accounts, and that's what was really important. Is that once Ripple understood that it had the principle or the power to transform financial markets, such as the SWIFT system that was actually too old, and now that Ripple understands that its technology can be global, because what's global about mass adoption is Ripple's technology, right? The other part, the XRP, is a liquidity issue. The XRP is because we all know that Ripple, the company, it has different suites of technology that it's working with. So XRP is another part of the technology. The cryptocurrency is another part of the technology. And so with that being said, we already know that this woman right here is on board. She's been on board for a couple of years. At first she wasn't, but she's on board now. We know Janet Yellen of the Federal Reserve, she was not on board, or at least she said she wasn't. And now with Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, he seems to be more on board. On some of his senatorial hearings, he was saying that he was not going to regulate. He doesn't have anything to do with regulating. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do, he said, with regulating cryptocurrencies. He said regulating cryptocurrencies should be something that's handled by the Treasury Department. You want to listen at the congressional hearings, and because he testified before Congress, and he said that Jerome Powell said no. Let's go, as a matter of fact. So anyway, let's go over to the Feds. Let's go over to the Feds here. Wow. I guess every time I turn on my camera on my phone. All right, here he is. Now, Jerome, cryptocurrencies has no intrinsic value, says U.S. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, July 19, 2018. It's kind of old, but it's still relevant because you don't get something from these three entities every day. You get bits and pieces from these guys. And so what he's saying is that there's actually no real threat. When he says they have no intrinsic value, what he's saying is that the cryptocurrencies are not a threat to a fiat currency right now. They're at fiat cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin's at $119 billion. Ethereum's at $41 billion, and XRP is at $16 billion. Bitcoin Cash at $11 billion. That's not enough. The market cap is only maybe $250 billion. That's not enough to be a threat to a fiat currency. Fiat currency is in the trillions of dollars. So fiat currency has trillions of dollars. Cryptocurrencies only has billions of dollars. So they have a long way to catch up. Only 250 billion, where fiat currencies are over 49 trillion dollars. And so, but Ripple XRP is their technology, not necessarily their cryptocurrency, but their technology right now can really transform the movement of money with X current. And, we all, and most of the people that are invested in Ripple XRP are hoping for X Rapid because it can handle the Voice accounts, so forth and so on. It can just turn everything around. But anyway, back to the political side of this, because the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell is more of the Feds is more of a political entity in terms of, because they're accountable. The Federal Reserve is accountable to Congress. And so whatever the Fed have to do, they have to let Congress know what they're doing. And so, so that's the political entity of the Federal Reserve. So anyway, so he's not against cryptocurrency. He's just saying right now, the feds are just saying right now, look, it's no big rush. All right, there's no rush to rush out and have a cryptocurrency. There's no need to rush and do that. Uh, but on the other hand, they see the strides that a cryptocurrency like Ripple XRP is making. See, there's no other cryptocurrency that has better use cases than Ripple XRP. Ripple XRP has the best use cases that's out there, and no other cryptocurrency has the use cases. All right. You know what their suite is. No other cryptocurrency can match that right now. But the only problem with that, I think a lot that's going on is that the market cap. Bitcoin is holding $119 billion of the cryptocurrency market cap. So, you know, that would mean that they're a big player globally because of their market cap size. So anyway, the Feds is still on board with selecting cryptocurrency. They're not saying that they're going to regulate it. They're not saying that they're going to cut it off. It says Jerome Powell, the head of the U.S. Federal Reserve, said Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have no intrinsic value and are only good for money laundering, which we know that's we know they're missing a boat making a statement like that. And so this was a July 19th article, 2018. So it's kind of old, but their attitude towards cryptocurrency is still the same. They're not going to regulate it. They don't feel like it's a threat. They don't feel like it's anything that they need to regulate cryptocurrency. And plus, Jerome Powell basically said that, you know, it's the Treasury Department's problem in terms of regulating. It's not something that they feel like that they need to regulate. Okay. All right. And so that's the IMF. They're still on board. Christine, she hasn't said anything different. But the only thing that kind of threw me off last night, folks, is this right here, this article right here. Bans emerge as central banks. Where did it go? Okay. Bans emerge as central banks push back on crypto adoption. Now, you know, if central banks start having a problem with cryptocurrency, and this came out yesterday, day before yesterday, August the 5th, 2018, Trevor Smith wrote the article, and he says bans emerge as central banks push back on cryptocurrency. And so I want to, you know, it's worth bringing up, folks, because if central banks are not on board, you're not going to get mass adoption. In order to get mass adoption, you're going to have all of these cryptocurrencies. You're going to have all of these entities, the IMF, the World Bank, central banks, and the Federal Reserve. They're all going to have to get on board because if they don't do it all together, then you're looking at individual, you know, you're looking at the Federal Reserve selecting one cryptocurrency, then you're looking at the IMF selecting a different cryptocurrency, and then you got the World Bank, central bank selecting a different cryptocurrency. So if they all have different cryptocurrencies, you're not going to get mass adoption because it won't work. Mass adoption means that everybody's going to be all on the same page and accept a Ripple XRP for this mass adoption to actually flow right. Okay, so you got to have Christine Lagarde, you have to have the Federal Reserve, and you have to have World Bank, central banks all come together and say, oh yeah, you know, Ripple XRP is a great idea. We need to get it. We need to get it for our services. We need to use it. It says, let's read a little bit of this article. It says, as the cryptocurrency revolution moves forward, governments and their central banks are scrambling to develop policies to manage and regulate the field. Although, see, all right, anyway, let me keep going. Although financial leaders are intrigued by the potential of blockchain technology, they have made no secret of their opposition to decentralized cryptocurrencies. All right, it says banking bans have emerged as their latest tools in an attempt to stem the flow of fiat currencies into their digital alternatives. The most publicized recent banking ban is in the Reserve Bank of India, which implemented a ban on all cryptocurrencies related activity earlier this year. Other central banks have put similar bans in place, including those in Iran, Zimbabwe, Pakistan, and most notably China. In each case, the financial authorities cite fraud protection as justification for the restrictions, but the actions are widely perceived as attempts to limit the public's ability to transfer state-backed fiat into borderless cryptocurrencies. So that's always been the big threat. The big threat has always been that fiat currencies will diminish because cryptocurrencies will increase. And right now, the gap between fiat currencies and cryptocurrencies is wide as the Pacific Ocean right now. They're nowhere close to each other. We already talked about that by looking at the markets. When you look at the markets, that's peanuts compared to the trillions and trillions of fiat currency that's floating around the world. And so, but there is some fear. I won't call it fear, but there is some concern there is some concern from some of the countries that they do need to do something about their members or their citizens. They do need to do something because the citizens are starting to select cryptocurrency. And so, you still have this quote unquote concern about cryptocurrencies, but cryptocurrencies are not an imminent threat to, like Brad Garlinghouse said, the US dollar is going to be around for a long time. And so they have a lot of time really before they have to really to do anything about it. They can be incremental in their process, and so mass adoption is coming, but it all depends. They have to have a good mass adoption structure, right? They have to have it organized because they can't banking, to shut down a bank for 3 days. I mean, just to try to institute the technology, that's a lot of money. That's the problem with Swift. Swift has gotten so big and they're doing so much until they can't even afford to shut down to change over. That's why they're probably going to have to talk to Ripple, somebody like Ripple XRP, and say, hey, can you come over and join us? Now, I'd like to see that. Really, I wouldn't mind seeing Swift join up with Ripple XRP and start, using xrp, and because it's a technology that's out there. I mean, somebody need to call Swift and say, hey, Swift, yeah, this is Brad Garlinghouse. Yeah, instead of trying to give people tracking numbers and use the old tracking number to follow your money, you guys need to use Ripple XRP. And somebody from Swift need to say, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and use Ripple XRP, and then we're good to go. Then, but there's one more issue before mass adoption, and let me share this with you. Here's your last big problem with mass adoption. Let me see. Oh, here's Spain. Before I get to that, Spain's central bank. Okay. Spain's central bank reports managing monetary policy is easier with digital currencies. See, so on one side you got the central bank in India saying they want to kind of push back on it and ban it, crypto, hold back cryptocurrency. Now Spain is saying we want to go ahead and use it because it's better. It moves better for us. So no matter what it's saying, you've got to come together. That's my whole point. We all know about the IMF. We all know about the Federal Reserve. We all know about the World Bank, central banks. We all have been following the banking. If you're following Ripple XRP, you got to follow the banks. That's the main thing with Ripple XRP. You got to follow banking. And so if you're following banking, those are the world banks, the central banks, the IMF, the Federal Reserve, money, money, money. So you got to follow the money, honey. If you don't follow the money, then you're not going to understand what's going on with Ripple XRP. But we are having some issues here, and the issues we're having is with the central banks. We're not having those same issues with the IMF, because the IMF with Christine, if you watch anybody's videos, the IMF is already on board with this. If you watch anybody else's videos, my videos, anybody's video, you'll see that the Federal Reserve is already on board with this. The problem is, how do we get the central banks on board with this process? All right. And so that's where the trouble lies, because that's why Ripple XRP is establishing political relationships. They're establishing regulatory relationships. A lot of the Ripple executives are on regulation. They're working with IMF, Federal Reserve, and trying to establish regulatory policy. They're trying to establish nation, these different nations and these different countries, they have their little, problems that they're working with. And so you got to really work with these central banks and make sure that all of these central banks, like Spain's bank is saying it's cool, you know, and Korean bank not too long ago, the Bank of Korea, they were having problems with it, with cryptocurrency. So you got to get all of these central banks together. They got it right now, the main problem in banking is getting the central banks on one page. I'll say that again, and you can check this out. The main problem right now with mass adoption is that central banks are not on the same page. You've got to get the central banks on the same page. Once you get the central banks on the same page, then you can get mass adoption because you got the Fed already, you got the IMF already and the Fed already. And the Fed's problem regarding mass adoption, the Fed's problem is that they have to make sure that they have their political agenda straightened out because the Federal Reserve is, you know, is accountable to the Congress of the United States. And so, you know, not that, you know, Congress is going to tell them what to do, but, you know, everybody want to know what's best for them, what's best for them, what's best for them. So, and meanwhile, you have institutional investors buying it up because they know it's eventually going to happen, right? All right. And so anyway, as we continue on, let me close with this. I'm going to close with this one, and it's SDRs. Now, you got to watch this because most of the people that are following this story, the big prize is SDRs. I did a video about this a while back on special drawing rights, and special drawing rights are the big prize. Now, the central banks play an intricate role in special drawing rights. The International Monetary Fund and the central banks, they play a big role with the special drawing rights. And so I want you to take a look at this video. We won't watch it all, but it's very important. Go to YouTube. It's called Expanding SDRs, explaining SDR, special drawing rights. Here we go. Okay. All right. So you already see the IMF has created the special drawing rights. This is the big prize, and this will be humongous. This would be historical if they select Ripple XRP for these special drawing rights. That would mean that it'll be first time that a cryptocurrency, something other than a fiat currency, is used for special drawing rights, and they add Ripple XRP into the basket of the G7 special drawing rights. But anyway, here we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 7 of them. So what goes in that basket, into this basket, I'll just add this in there, is the G7 countries. The G7 countries. Reserve asset. Mm-hmm. All right. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would mean that in order for that basket, the Ripple XRP, and I did a video about can a cryptocurrency be added to the SDR basket? That's the big question. That's the big prize. Can Ripple XRP, a cryptocurrency, be added to that basket? That basket that you're looking at. If Ripple XRP is added to that basket, it's over, baby. You're going to get mass adoption because that's where the special drawing rights are now could be used. You know, I'm not, I know it's more to this than what I'm saying because I'm only just a YouTube guy that's following the cryptocurrency story. So You know, Christine LeGray, Chris Larson, Ray Zagone, all these different people. They got a lot more to talk about, and we know that they're having. These are the kind of conversations they having. Ray Zagone, Chris Larson, they tell me, man, what we gonna do about this SDR basket? We're gonna have to work it out with the central banks. We got to let the central bank. We got to let the IMF know that these central banks are gonna have to use a cryptocurrency for this to handle that liquidity problem that Brad Garlinghouse talks about. That liquidity problem. That liquidity problem. That liquidity problem. And the liquidity problem is the SDRs. Okay, so if they get the SDRs, you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff because Ripple XRP will be used for that. Or the other alternative is to use the cryptocurrency incrementally and cover what it can and what it can cover now. So to me, it would be wise because you ain't got to have a whole bunch of money now. But I don't know. I better hold up on that because they might not want to give up that fiat real quick. See, you know, the United States, they ain't gonna want to give it up because the United States is the reserve currency. So I'm not really sure how the SDRs work with reserve currency, but you know, you can still get that. Look, did you see how much US dollar was there? Wow. Did you hear that? What? Wow. Okay, so I don't want to go through that whole film. I just wanted to show you. That's the big prize in all of this. You know, when the rubber meets the road, when you put the butter on the bread, you know, the big prize is the special drawing rights. That's the big prize. If they can work that problem out and fix that problem with the IMF central banks, then you're going to get mass adoption. You're going to have Ripple XRP mass adoption, and it's Lambo time, baby. I mean, you're really going to be able to roll with it. Okay, I'm going to cut off right there because I'm kind of gone. I went kind of long on this video talking about this issue, but I've been following this issue for a long time. So you can check some of my previous videos, IMF. Check out some of my previous videos on the IMF, on the Federal Reserve, and on the World Bank. And you can see that the special drawing rights, that's where the butter's on the bread, baby, and that's where they put it on the roll. All right. Let me see if that's all. Is that everything else? Let's see. Let's see. Let's get back. I think that's it. I think that's all we were talking about. We got Spain, and then we got this weird. We talked about this, you know, the band backing up. But that's it. That looks like that's it, man. If y'all got any questions, I want y'all to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to these videos, and if you have any questions, any comments, please leave your question in the comments. I'd love to know what y'all think about what we're putting out here. I'd love to know how you feel about the information that we're putting out here. And I'd love to know your point of view. So please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be going live to Swell. We're going to be recording live in San Francisco at Swell Conference. We're going to be doing some stuff at Stanford University, some of the cryptographies. And we're going to start talking to them what they think about the future cryptocurrency. So please, please subscribe, and also follow us on Twitter too. We're on Twitter, Crypto News and Investigative Reports at RobTechP, RobTech. RobTechP is our handle. All right, and wherever you are, have a good day, or wherever you are, have a good night, and a happy investing. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.